Battle control initialized.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Red Alert Gaming League Season 9 Minions Round 2. In the upper left-hand corner, we have CottonTheButton as Ukraine, and in the lower right-hand corner, we have Iceinithol as Ukraine. Let's go to the production tab. Both players about dead even. Dead even in deployment, dead even in build. It looks like Cotton's going for a doghouse. We'll see how he uses it. We've got our first engagement of the game. CottonTheButton finding a stationary position and holding off Icesinithol from taking that position on the northern oil derrick. Icesinithol moving his engineer out alone. That is a risky maneuver. Cotton's engineer not far behind, getting ready to capture that position there. Cotton just a bit behind in deployment of his second ore refinery due to his kennel. Also sitting on his structures for just a second. Those seconds really add up in the first few minutes of the game. Icenithol about 11 seconds ahead on his war factory build. Both players with one oil derrick. Both players again going double ref, but with Iceinithol about a solid 10 seconds ahead on the deployment of his war factory. Line of sight advantage from that dog. If Cotton moves it up just a hair, it's really going to help his army out. And a grenadier rush from Cotton. Negative. Defensive grenadiers. Trying to take out that rifle scout. And an APC finishing off the rifle scout. Cotton holding position. Static position in the center of the map. Line of sight advantage from the dog. Great use of a canine unit early in the game. Loading up a 5-stack of grenadiers. Heading over to the enemy base. And there are only 2 oil derricks on this map now. CottonTheButton partially invested in renewable energy with 1 oil derrick to his name. Iceinithol scoping out that oil derrick with his flak truck. He knows that nobody's there. Some troop harassment. Just not enough line of sight to defend the army there. Well, actually, that flak truck might be able to just outrange them, period. And Cotton knows what's up right now. He's going to go for that engineer, if he can find him without getting lost in the sauce there, and he does, and retains his oil derrick. Again, that APC is got a 5-stack of grenadiers in it. CottonTheButton comes out with his he comes out with his first MCV of the game. Iceinithol moving out his main MCV. Cotton moving over towards his natural expansion point. Oh, and Icesinithol came out with another MCV and moved out his main MCV, so he's going to have an expansion out first. Cotton not far behind. Both players on 5 harvesters and 1 oil derrick. Cotton ahead by about 1,000 income, and Iceinithol leading in actions per minute 39 to 22. And that is a mine layer from Cotton. The mine layer and the APC look very similar. He's going to mine that expansion point, but the army of Icesinithol knows what he's up to, I think. And that is some good mine placement. Oh, and that harvester going down nearly immediately. Oh, and the APC picking an unfortunate route through the army of Icesinithol, getting taken out. Both players still on 5 harvesters. No eco slide from Cotton. And a sizable force from Iceinithol. Iceinithol pursuing conventional forces. Cotton going for the cheese platter. Now trying to army up. He's on radar tech with a airfield and out with a mine layer again. Mine layer rather surviving. There's the 3 harvester slide. That is a vulnerable position, but Iceinithol bypasses it, runs into the main army of Cotton. Line of sight advantage thanks to the aircraft and the base. They're going to trade well as they can against a much more sizable force. Cotton with the home field advantage, able to reinforce more quickly, but I think he's strapped for cash right now. Both players very low on cash. Both players about dead even on income with 5 harvesters each to their name. Still mining that ore field. And one of Cotton's aircraft going down to flak truck fire. That's it for this army, but there's more on the way. Not far behind, Cotton out with another tank, another heavy tank, in the Soviet versus Soviet match, Ukraine mirror match. And the army of Icesinithol getting mopped up by Cotton's aircraft. Well, let's see if this ore truck goes down and finds those mines. He will eventually. Having an airfield as Ukraine is so useful. And here comes a blast on the eco of Cotton. Those 3 heavy tanks are going to be met by riflemen and rocket troopers. Cotton pulls his harvesters without losing a single one. And those heavy tanks getting routed. One destroyed, another on a sliver of health. And Icesinithol losing another harvester to Cotton's ore mine. Or rather, well, I suppose ore mine does make sense in that context, doesn't it? Anyway, harassing those tanks with the aircraft, and flak trucks moving in, claiming both of those aircraft. And Icesinithol is going to make another run on that expansion base of Cotton. Cotton behind about 2,000 income, despite having 2 more harvesters than Icesinithol. And the doggy leading the charge. Poor doggy. Cotton again retains his harvesters. Reinforcements have arrived. and sells off his expansion. Iceinithol with 2 expansions, but behind on harvesters. Each player with 1 oil derrick. Line of sight advantage from those aircraft, but a crash into the friendly ranks. And the forces of CottonTheButton routing the forces of Iceinithol. Cotton ahead now in income, but that's a lot of harvesters on just those couple of patches, and I hope he repairs those ore trucks. Icinithol's main base vulnerable without build radius, but Iceinithol with a long reach across the map. Lots of pressure on Cotton's expansions, and Cotton with a paratrooper drop harassing the MCV. And a contingent of heavy tanks from Iceinithol moving to defend his second expansion. Cotton ahead by about 5,000 income. Cranking out tanks, planes, and troops. And a flame tower pop moves the construction yard on about 5% health, just in the nick of time. And a sizable force from Cotton just sitting at the base, moving out blind with his expansion MCV. The MCV having escaped certain death just a few minutes prior. A scout aircraft from Cotton. And Cotton knows that he has to claim an expansion. He is running out of money on his main base, now falling slightly behind Iceinithol in income. Both players about even in income. Cotton up to 8 harvesters and Iceinithol on 6 harvesters, each player with 1 oil refinery. An idle harvester on Iceinithol. Does one... Oh, and here comes the parabombs. Nearly destroying that barracks, just not able to. And here's an eco-harassment. Looks like they're going to get that. Oh, and Cotton has been so lucky in retaining his ore trucks. Good crashes from the aircraft, but idle tanks at base. Advancing into a static force. Cotton is not trading well here. He may lose that entire force. Cotton out with his 3rd expansion of the game. Still an idle harvester from Iceinithol. And Iceinithol possibly losing that MCV there to something. I didn't quite see what. Iceinithol moving in on Cotton's 2nd expansion. His only remaining expansion. He's going to try to retain it, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Nope. Cotton falling asleep on that ore truck for just 1 second takes him down to 7 ore trucks to Iceinithol's 6. Iceinithol out with V2s, not using them just yet. And those aircraft trying to mop up the tank force. Taking out one of the heavy tanks. That harvester on Iceinithol that was idle, back to work. Couple of mines in that field still. And parabombs completely missing the mark. Formidable aircraft squadron from Cotton moving out for his 4th expansion. Cotton still only on 1 expansion ore refinery. And both players nearly even in income. Icesinithol ahead by about 500. Icesinithol producing V2s, and here's Cotton's push on the main base, but there's two V2 rocket launchers. If he doesn't see this, this is going to do massive damage to his army. A great hit from the V2 rocket launcher. Iceinithol selling off his main base. He's still got one war factory. Another great hit from the V2 rocket launcher. And another awesome hit from the V2. Those V2s are batting 1,000. V2's vulnerable, of course, to heavy armor. But Iceinithol using them well. Sacking two of his own troops to take out that heavy tank. Cotton moving in on Iceinithol's second expansion. Cotton on his fourth expansion of the game. His second eco expansion is now out with a harvester slide. And CottonTheButton smartly avoiding the flak truck, able to take it out, and that is a lot of V2 rocket launchers. That will do some serious damage to a... I don't know if they have enough ammo left to take that out. No, not quite enough. That's unfortunate. That really would have helped them out. Sizable V2 and infantry force moving in from Iceinithol. We got a paradrop right next to the base. And a smart flamer drop. They didn't get far. But here comes that V2 force. They are going to absolutely wreck those flame towers. Cotton is going to have to play smart with those heavy tanks. But he's going to run right into the infantry force, trying to bust through, losing two heavy tanks, losing three of them. And down goes his service depot. Iceinithol just using the V2s very effectively. Iceinithol trying to snipe, and he gets the radar dome of Cotton. Cotton with a counter push on Iceinithol's radar dome. They're going to get taken out by those flak trucks. Three remaining V2 rocket launchers falling to Iceinithol's infantry. Cotton experiencing connection problems at the worst time possible. Just unable to respond effectively. That is really unfortunate. Cotton at some point are taking out Iceinithol's second expansion. Cotton retaining two harvesters. Iceinithol now on 3 war factories with 6,700 income. I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain that. Iceinithol out with his second MCV of the game. In an anti-aircraft contingent, holding the center of the map. Cotton heavily reliant on his air force at this point. Moving in on the enemy war factory number 1, that's going down for sure. Iceinithol responding. Cotton without a backup plan there. And Iceinithol pulling his anti-aircraft force to deal with the troops. Iceinithol about to take his third expansion of the game. And we're at minute 19 going on 20 minutes. This is a knockdown, drag-out fight. technicians putting up a decent fight against those flak trucks, but both players being reduced to the corners of the maps. Iceinithol ahead, 60 actions per minute to Cotton's 30, and Cotton ahead by about 1,500 income, floating 4K cash. Iceinithol is strapped for cash. Iceinithol looking for some kind of drop there. I think I missed that. Cotton has got to move this MCV immediately if he wants to retain it. A sizable infantry force from Cotton. That MCV is going to get chased down. Cotton should move in with that infantry force if he wants to retain the MCV. Heavy tanks in pursuit. Flak trucks in pursuit. That MCV is down. Iceinithol losing 2 heavy tanks in the process. But he is knocking on Cotton's door. Cotton now strapped for cash. Behind in income, 2,700 to 5,500. Iceinithol also strapped for cash. Both players on 8 harvesters, with Cotton retaining the only oil derrick of the game. And an infantry push into a static formation with line of sight disadvantage. Not trading well at all. Cotton's going to lose his entire army here. Reinforcements on the way. And a good strike, and also a good vector from those Yak attack planes. Both players' armies having been completely decimated. Both players totally strapped for cash. Both players down to... Well, Iceinithol has 2 MCVs to Cotton's 1. I don't think Cotton will be coming out with an MCV anytime soon. Iceinithol returning to radar tech. CottonTheButton also on radar tech. Cotton retaining his infantry force despite my prediction, thanks to the Yak attack planes. A false charge if there ever was one. Drawing Iceinithol into an engagement and then just absolutely wiping his forces out with a strafe from the Yak attack planes. CottonTheButton behind in harvesters ahead in harvesters despite having eco advantage, or disadvantage rather, and the MCV of Iceinithol going down to Cotton's Yak attack planes. Cotton pummeling the barracks again, and Iceinithol at a disadvantage, not having an airfield as Ukraine. Ukraine, in my opinion, having the absolute best and most practical super weapons unique to their side. Parabombs and paratroopers. Iceinithol completely without anti-air in this contingent. Cotton at a near power at a power deficit, behind in income, low on cash. Iceinithol making a charge for the back of the base to take out that aircraft on the runway and also take out several harvesters from Cotton. CottonTheButton now down to 7 harvesters and 1 oil derrick to Iceinithol's 9. Icesinithol making a run on that one lone airfield out there, totally unprotected. But don't underestimate Cotton. Although he does seem to be in dire straits at this point. Both players fighting it out. Minute 25 has just passed. This is absolutely one of the longest battles we've seen in the Minions RAGL Season 9 so far. Anti-aircraft coming in, taking out 2 of those yaks. And they are going to move in on that airfield. Cotton losing the rest of his air force. Cotton down to 1 yak attack plane, about to lose the airfield in the upper left-hand corner of the map. CottonTheButton mining the ore field that he previously mined. Cotton still foregoing armor in favor of line of sight provided by the aircraft. It's worked for him so far. Icinithol coming out with his I'm losing count now, his 4th MCV of the game. Cotton with a power drop, trying to take out Icinithol's service depot. That's not going to happen. Cotton's ore trucks being whittled down by that flame tower. He's going to try to take it out with the aircraft. 1 aircraft isn't going to be enough. Oh, but 4 will be plenty. Yep, there it goes. CottonTheButton running over his own minefield that he laid earlier in the game. And a heavy tank contingent moving on the vulnerable ore trucks that have been weakened by the flame towers. Repeated strikes. Minute 27. Cotton down to $0. And both players about even in income. Icinithol now on 10 harvesters. Cotton losing 3 harvesters. Now down to 3 harvesters and 1 oil derrick. And a sizable force from Icinithol moving in on Cotton's main base. Going to take out that oil derrick. Cotton now with poor map control compared to Icinithol. Icinithol already on his 6th expansion of the game, if I'm counting right. CottonTheButton lining it up and not trading well dollar for dollar, but decimating the forces of Icinithol, delaying Icinithol's offensive for just a little bit longer. Cotton's still completely strapped for cash. Cotton says he's bored. Does that mean good game? I don't see a way for Cotton to come back from this. At this point, Icinithol with better map control, up to 8,000 income to Cotton's 1,600 income. Cotton about to lose the very last remnants of his army in his final war factory. Cotton losing his war factory. Cotton still fighting it out past minute 29. Cotton completely stalled for cash at this point. And a para drop from Icinithol takes out a flame tower and heavily damages 2 of the barracks. Cotton just not willing to call it quits at minute 30. And a backline power drop from Icinithol. Going to take out one of those ore trucks. Cotton pulling his ore trucks, looking for crushes. A sizable force from Iceinithol. Cotton with absolutely no answer to this. Cotton losing one of his ore trucks. Finding good crushes. Cotton's MCV escaping to his original base location. Cotton selling off the remnants of his base. Idle harvesters. Icinithol at 63.5 actions per minute to Cotton's 30. Icinithol out with his, I believe that's actually his 5th expansion of the game. Icinithol on full tech tier. Cotton retaining a total of 2 riflemen, 2 technicians, 2 ore trucks, an MCV, and a Yak attack plane. Cotton unwilling to surrender. 1,500 cash and no way to have any income. I think he's totally stalled at this point. Icinithol on 10 harvesters. Cotton being absolutely the most stubborn player I have ever seen. Icinithol coming out with mammoth tanks. And we are on closing in on minute 32. The action basically being over by, I'd say about minute 25, 26. This is just Icinithol hunting down Cotton's MCV. That MCV being a sneaky little MCV. He's going to run headlong into a mammoth tank, perhaps 2 mammoth tanks. And the aircraft of Icinithol finding that MCV. Icinithol selecting all troops across the entire map, quite possibly, and moving out to claim Cotton's MCV. The MCV going headlong into rocket troopers. And that's good game at minute 32 and 29 seconds. Total score of 1,602 to 1,232. Let's go to the eco graph. A lot to analyze here. We can't even see the entire game on the eco graph. It only lets me go back to minute 13, but both players about even until a couple of attacks on, repeated attacks on Cotton's expansions by Icinithol just whittled him down over time. Let's go to the army graph. Cotton ahead. I thought Cotton had this for a while. When he took out Icinithol's main base and started making attacks on his second expansion, or first expansion, however you want to say it. But anyway, Icinithol just with good pressure from the very beginning and keeping Cotton on the defensive despite having a income advantage and an army advantage at some point. Icinithol just with repeated attacks, discombobulating his opponent. And Cotton, in my opinion, going a little bit too heavy into the Air Force. The Yaks are really good if you can use them in mass, but that's super hard to do on a 1v1 map. That's more of a multiplayer tactic. Both games going to Icinithol. Red Alert Gaming League, round 2.
Battle control terminated.